Hello and welcome to another edition of the CGI podcast. This is Curtis and Gaia Go Insane, which is an offshoot of the C Squared podcast. You're here with your host, Gaia and Curtis, and we are here with Greg from the New York City band Witnesses. So first of all, I just want to say welcome to Greg.
Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
You are very welcome. And now our host, Gaia Gorda, is going to take over.
I have a question for you, just beginning, because like we're calling you Greg, and like the name that you have on the thing is another name. Are we mistaken, or like
what's the other name?
Leslie Arts? Like,
I'm here on Zoom. Oh, sorry, that's my wife's name.
Okay.
But she does. I do call her wifenesses, so there is that.
Okay, that's cool. Okay, also I was like, can you imagine we do the entire podcast and then we find out that like we misnamed you the entire time?
I mean,
that could happen.
It'd be cool if I let that go the whole time. That would be funny.
Okay, awesome. So thank you for being here today. I'm super excited to talk about you, with you about the music. And so I listened to the track that you sent us, and this is like an upcoming album, from what I understand. Can you tell us a bit of the story behind your band, like without like going too much into like the boring part, I guess?
Yeah.
But,
no.
like, how like did you start this project?
Of course, yeah, and it comes out on Halloween, by the way.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I wanted to do that because who doesn't love Halloween? And I feel like once you start getting later into the year, it gets a little like lost in the mix, if no pun intended. But I really wanted to come out to be considered a proper release for this year and not be in that weird holiday period. So I'm thankful that I was able to get it all done in time. So the story is, I don't know, it's kind of different, I guess. I didn't play for a long time, like maybe from the ages of like 25 to early 30s, maybe. Sounds about right. I just sold all my gear. I wasn't even like practicing like as a musician to just get better. And I thought I was done. And then it was a very specific show. I went to Prague Power and I saw Isan play, and this is back when Leprous was his backing band. Mm-hmm. And I saw my friends While Heaven Wept play, and they both put on incredible performances. And I said, what am I doing? Like, hey, I might not, be playing Prague Power or whatever, with Isan, but why am I not playing? And so like pretty soon thereafter, I went out and just got like the most easy to play guitar I could, like an Ibanez or something. Like, just get something super fun to play. And then I wanted to start a metal project, but I couldn't get the right thing going. The songs were not good enough. Nothing was working. And so then I said, well, screw it. I have other interests. So then I started doing the so-called cinematic ambient records. So if you go back, not everything here is metal, right? And that's very much what the project is about. I'm going to do whatever I want to do at any given time. And so I did a couple releases like that. And I said, you know what? No, I still have that itch. I have to do metal. And so then I wrote a new batch of songs, which became To Disappear and To Be Nothing. And that, I didn't promote that very hard. I didn't really know how to do it. But I got some good responses from it. And I said, yeah, like this, I got to keep doing this. And then I did Doom 2. Doom 2 got some attention that was really humbling. And so with the collapse, I said, all right, this is it. Third time's the charm. The things I've been trying to do on these two previous releases, I want to try and nail here. And I guess to try and wrap up this long rambling answer, like I'm going to continue to do the other styles. Like I'm very motivated to do my dark folk stuff now. Now that the collapse is coming out, I had my Taylor out, and that's all I want to play right now. But that's kind of the story. It just got inspired to play again by a particular show, and then said by some weird happenstance, just said, you know what? Maybe I should just do whatever I want and not make it strictly a metal project.
I find that those are usually like the best projects.
It's fun. Why limit yourself? I don't know. Like, Over is a band that I've always loved, for a long time. And those guys do whatever the hell they want to do. If they want to cover Prince, If they want to do a pop album, whatever.
Mhm.
I love that spirit.
That's really
I want
yes, let's go, Curtis.
I just want to point something out. I think it's hilarious that the both of you guys have a similar thought on that, because you both do metal, but then you both do non-metal at the same time, and neither one of you give a fuck. I
I find it's like so liberating to just not put that many like limits to yourself, and like just like do whatever you want to do with your project. And like I feel like once you have something that you really care about, it's easier to find people that are going to care about it too, because like it's something so authentic that people like they can't tell when something is fake or like when something really have a soul.
100%. And I don't know how you guys feel, but I think metal is a very conservative genre. And what I mean by that is not political. I mean, well, that too. But there's a lot of like, here are the rules. Like, this is what metal is. And oh, you're straying outside of this subgenre. And now I have to reclassify you as this. And it's like, lighten up, man. Just like, you got thrash metal, death metal, doom metal, but like, otherwise, just do whatever the hell you want to do.
Yeah, but it's true. But also like I did find, because I have a neoclassical dark wave project.
Oh, cool.
And I have like my metal band, but like when I started like my electronic project, I was kind of scared because of that. Like I know that metal fans are very like, they like their stuff pretty clear.
Yep.
But then when I launched my album, people were like, oh, I like electronic music too. I was just like, you do?
It's cool. It's really cool. Yeah.
It's a lot of like metal fans are really open to the genre. Like it's just like once you get that kind of crowd, you're golden. Like they're very open-minded, and those I find that they're the best fans.
No, for sure. Once you find them.
Yeah. I had a question because before we started the podcast, I asked you about like the members in your project, and like you said that you were like producing everything and you had like guests. Did you have experience with bands before? Okay. Did you find that what was your experience with like switching to having like your own project with other people that were not like full-time member, comparing to like being in a band?
This is so much better. Like I mean, look, I was in a band in my 20s, and I'm 42 now. And when like our first friend got a Tascam 4-track, he was the coolest guy, man. This was like, holy shit, a Tascam 4-track. And it was so hard. Like, we would record riffs into boom boxes and stupid stuff, and we were kids and we didn't know what we wanted to do. And it was just, man, that's a cool riff that band played. We should write something like that. And I mean, there were some good parts of those days. Tape trading, so much fun. I miss that so bad. But I am not into like creative democracy. Like, I have a vision, I want to see it through, and I would rather pay someone and have them be down with that and those constraints than negotiate. So like, what I love about hiring people, and sometimes they're friends who just, do me a favor, I'll do you a favor, whatever, right? Or they just want to play, and that's cool. It's not like there's money being made here. And then, where was I going with this? With session musicians, like if you find the right people and negotiate a good rate, and then give them freedom, right? And just be like, this is the vibe I'm going for. Like, I need this to be, I'll give you an example. So on the Collapse, there's a piano interlude right in the middle. I'm not sure if you got up to that part. And the only thing I told her was just play something in D minor that's like really dark. And that was it. And her first pass was like, I was like, yeah, can you like, turn up the darkness knob a little bit? And then the second pass was perfect. But like, I would never like be like, oh, play this. I mean, that to me is ridiculous. And so I think what I'm getting at is like, if you find talented people who can understand what you're doing and kind of like, complement it, but then you get the veto, ideal situation.
Yeah, I find it too that it's kind of like, it makes it a little bit easier. The only thing is like, then when you want to play live, it's another challenge. Yeah. Did you plan on eventually playing live, or just
Never.
Like
I hate it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I have serious stage fright. I don't get any pleasure out of it. For this project, I'd have to assemble a live band, and I don't know anyone in New York. Like, no one I work with is in New York.
Okay.
Yeah, I've witnesses. I don't know. Maybe I don't remember. I mean, I've never had like a practice or a jam session. I don't
Okay.
even really remember sitting down with anyone ever to do anything. Sorry, there's cats.
I
Yeah.
have to ask you, what's the name of your cat?
So we have two cats. That is, I can't see who that was, but they're named Diane and Audrey, after Diane and Audrey from Twin Peaks. So yeah, oh yeah, that's Diane. But no, yeah, I Witnesses is not a band. It's like a project. It's like
Mhm.
cheesy as that sounds. I've never like sat down and be like, hey man, let's do some riffs and stuff. Never. Just not how I do it.
And like you, since you do the production and like all the, do you have like people coming to your house to record, or they record by themselves, like where they are, and they send you the tracks?
By themselves. Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I feel like
I've never,
yeah.
we had, for the first Doom album, we did record guitars at a studio.
Mhm.
And I mean, I destroyed the production on that album. It's terrible. But it's a learning process, right? And I think the collapse is much better, and progression is the key.
Mhm.
But yeah, after that, I was like, no, I want to do this by myself. Like, it's expensive enough to do all the other stuff. I don't want to pay for a studio. And the tools are there. And I'm not saying I can get to like a point of like Fascination Street Studios or something, but I don't know. I think the tools are, if you can afford it, right? Like the
Mhm.
tools are there, and you can do tremendous stuff on your own.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like Curtis probably has a question.
I
Yeah.
do. I'm taking myself off mute there for a second there. So I'm gonna derail everything here. I'm gonna ask about the name, which you're probably something you don't want to be talking about. But what is the story with the name? Because it's usually one word band names are very hard to Google. So I'm just wondering, what was the thought behind this?
I thought it sounded cool. It means nothing.
Nothing? Okay.
No, it seriously. I googled this. There's like an old jazz band, I think, called Witnesses, and pretty old. So I thought like, okay, that's fine. There was I think like a punk band that seemed to like have not done too much stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I'm gonna roll the dice. All I wanted was a name that sounded cool, where you would say like, hey, what's that? That sounds kind of neat. Not too much thought went into it at all.
I was hoping there was like you witnessed a murder or something like that.
Something cool.
No, sorry, it's really not cool. It's not interesting. I just wanted a cool name. It's like, I kind of related. Like I've put a lot of energy into the photography and artwork, not myself, but getting the right people to do it.
Yeah.
And there's I'm sure both of you, if I could guess, have had the experience of like, being in a record store back in the day and just being like, this cover looks so cool.
Yep.
Like I have to know what this is.
Yep.
And that is part of the spirit of it. That's all I care about. Does it sound cool, look cool, get people in?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So I got one more follow-up before I give it over to Guy. Well, not really a follow-up, but a derailed question here. So now you're doing a limited number of CDs. I think it's 50?
50. Yeah, 50.
Cool. So are you what are you doing packaging wise for it, out of curiosity?
Yeah, so I found an artist. I don't recall his full name because it's like got a couple parts to it. But Pierre, I can, if you go to my Bandcamp Instagram, like I'm linking to him everywhere I can. This guy Pierre, I found him on Behance. I think that's how it's pronounced. The site for photographers and artists and stuff.
Yep.
I was just scrolling through Behance, so I was like, there's a lot of cool people here. And I found this series. I think I can't remember what the series. This is terrible. I can't remember what the series is called. But I wrote him, and I was like, "Hey, this is it. This matches the lyrical content so much. It's eerie." And he wrote me back within about 24 hours, and we made it all work. So,
Nice.
So I originally was just going to do the one digital with the main image, and then I was like, "Nope, I can't do this. This series that he's done is too good to not make a CD layout out of it." So it's an 8-page book.
Nice.
Yeah, 8-page book of all the lyrics. Looks beautiful. Designed by Andreas Levers, who I've worked with many times in the past. And it'll be hand numbered, 50 copies. They're going, which is awesome. And that should be it. I mean, if I got a signal that I could sell more, I would. But I don't know. CDs are such a weird format right now.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like there are people who are like, I don't care. I just want something physical because I love physical stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I'm sympathetic. I still think CDs are an awesome format.
Mhm. I agree.
But you know, they're great. They're high resolution. They're easy to carry. You know, whatever. Well, if you put them in like a album, I guess. But anyway, it's weird. But if I moved all the Doom 2 CDs, so I'm gonna roll the dice again.
Well, that's good. I mean, I think part of the problem that people have with CDs, the only problem I ever have with CDs is when you order a CD and there's like nothing to the package. It's literally just like the CD cover
Totally.
and there's nothing there. But when you got the booklet and you got something extra with it,
yeah,
it makes sense. Like to me, I'm not going to spend $10 on just a disc. You know what I mean?
No, I agree. I agree fully. And I wanted this to be special. And Pierre's artwork, man, when you see when you read the lyrics and then you look at the artwork, you'll just say, man, it's almost. And he didn't make it for me, right? It already existed. And I was like, I have to have this. What's your fee? Like,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Gaia, you want to go next, or am I?
Yeah, I want to come back to when we were talking about like working with people on your album. What would be your kind of advice for people that are like looking to hire people for their own music?
Man, it's such a good question. No one's ever asked me that. I think if I had to give my top piece of advice, to be this: be fearless. I don't care who they are. If you hear someone, even on a major label, I don't give a crap, and you're like, I would love to work with, write them. Like you would laugh if you knew some of the people I've written. The answer tends to be no. But like even just getting in touch with like their, I don't know, artist or whatever, I don't know what that's called, their agent or some shit or whatever, you might get in touch with them. But just like if you hear, and the other thing I would say is just like open your mind, right? Like if you hear someone in a different context, like so Anlik, the guy who sings on this album, he's not a metal guy. Like his music is more like grungy rock type stuff. But I was like, yep, this is gonna work. And I paid him, like, actually I don't think he even charged me to do like a 2-minute snippet just to test it out. And I was like, dude, this is gonna be amazing. So I think like if I had to give 2 pieces of advice, write anyone. Just be fearless. Who cares? Like they may not respond, they might say no, and if they're a jerk, then they probably are a jerk. And then second, like if you're no matter what genre you're doing, just think more broadly, right? Maybe there's a pop vocalist who just can adapt and fit what you're doing.
Yeah, it would be surprised how cool it sounds to have someone that's not necessarily in the same genre. Like they really add something different to the music. And even like you said, the person that did the vocal on your album, when I listened to his voice, I was like, wow, okay, that is really, really cool. And I felt like it was like just perfect with the songs.
I agree. When I found him, I said, this is the guy. Like,
this is it.
Yeah, this is it. It's gonna be great. And he was really good to work with. I mean, I think we only changed one part. And that was it. Everything else, I was like, yep, yep. So really good experience with him.
And where would you find them? Like, do you like post to? I know, like you said that to contact them, but like, have you like any tip on like where to find people?
Yeah. So there's a couple things. Like you can just use social media, right? As an example, just go hunting for people on Instagram. Use the open web. You can and so that's so. For example, when I was looking for a vocalist for the Collapse, because I had a previous vocalist that I was working with, and so when I was looking for the vocalist for this, I posted on Twitter, and a lot of really nice people retweeted. I had like 5 people apply. None of them were right, but I was super humbled by that, and I was really appreciative of the interest and everything like that. So social media and the open web, but also like Sound Better is like a really great service. I think Spotify bought them, so maybe they'll ruin it. But like if you go, there's a lot of really good people on there. It's actually kind of shocking how good some of the people are on there. So there's a few services like this, but then I would just say the typical Twitter, Instagram, BS networking. But I had one. There's a woman I worked with, Maria Malmo from Denmark. I had posted somewhere, and then a guy from a label called Integrity Records wrote to me And he was like, hey, I heard you're looking for, because I wanted someone to sing in a Nordic language. This was on Witnesses 4. And he's like, hey, I heard you're looking for someone with a Nordic speaking singer. This is like a big thing that we do. And he connected me with Maria, and the results, I don't know if if the cinematic ambient stuff, as I call it, is your jam, but if you go back to Witnesses 4, she translated some of my lyrics into Danish, and it is off the charts. And so I just got very lucky that someone saw something I had posted and reached out to me.
That's amazing.
It was amazing because she is out of this world.
Curtis.
Okay, so we got like 8. So I got a question for both of you guys. So I'll ask Greg first. So if you could, who do you want to collaborate on if you had a choice of pretty much anyone within reason, not like James Hetfield or someone like that?
Wouldn't be James anyway, but sure.
just anyone. So anyone. Other than James Hetfield or Megadeth, nothing like
no,
that.
No, I get you. I gotta say, like, it's kind of a funky answer, but maybe not. I would say like 3 or 4 years ago, I was completely obsessed with Vardruna, and I'm similarly obsessed with Heilung. And God, I'm forgetting the woman who sings for Heilung. I want to say Maria something, but Einar Selvik and the vocalist from Heilung, I think they are doing something just unmatched. And I don't know what it would look like, but I have seen Vardruna twice. I've seen Einar Selvik do his solo thing twice. I've seen Heilung twice. And I hate going to shows, and those are some of the, because I want to sit down. And I'm just old and I hate it. Like, I don't want to be in mosh pit or whatever. And those performances, it just changed my life, all of them. And I think the music that they're doing is really, really, I don't know. Until I had heard it, I never could have imagined it really. So that would be a dream, I think.
Cool. What about you, Gaia?
Okay, I know you said not to go big, but I would still go big.
Well, reasonable. Like, I mean, like if it's someone that's a different story.
No, it's not someone I know, but I mean, like, one person that I have on my vision board that I really want to work with would be like Martin Gore from Depeche Mode.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, like, I go up.
That's up there.
Yeah, it's like up there, but like
what about a little bit more down there other than him? Okay. And I'm not trying to go against your goal. I'm just
yeah, you're limiting me.
I'm sorry, but
I'm thinking.
Cool.
Because, like, I mean, I ended up like working with Rocky Gray, and I feel like it was like up there too. So I can't really.
No, yeah. Okay. No, that's a good point. Okay, so we'll take him. That's a good point. I forgot. Okay. Cool. Good. Okay, so now before we end off, we got time for 2 more questions, I think. So, Guy, you want to do the
ultimate question?
The ultimate question?
Yes.
Oh, God.
Yes. Yeah. I hope you're ready for this, and please don't disappoint me. It's a good question. It's awesome. So, what is your favorite dinosaur?
I think if I was a kid, I probably would have said, what's the big one? Brontosaurus?
Oh, the one with the...
Yeah.
Yes.
Seems like the gentle giant or something.
Yeah, they're just like chill and like eating leaf.
Yeah, I think I would say a pterodactyl though.
Oh yeah, those are like one of my favorites. I had a mug with one of them, and like I broke it. But they're the best.
Aren't they? I mean, aren't pterodactyl aren't they kind of present in certain animals still? Like,
I think so. Like I mean, they kind of look like ostriches.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they really look like that. It's just like, I don't know. I still think that all the dinosaurs are like birds, but right. I don't know if that's like the real like what happened with dinosaurs, but like they really do look like birds.
Yeah, for sure. So I hope that wasn't disappointing, but I don't know.
No, that was a good answer.
Okay.
You passed the test.
So Greg, is there anything we should have asked you before we end off? Is there anything we should have talked about, asked you about?
Your influences, the meaning of your lyrics.
You know what? I mean, since I set this up, I will give answers, because it would be silly for me not to have mentioned this to Curtis and not answer. I mean, look, I think for influences, it's all over the place, right? Like, and that shows in the music. But it's not just music, right? Like Stanley Kubrick, Neil Gaiman, like huge influence. I actually, the first Doom album, the first song is called A Game of You. That's a reference to the Sandman. I almost called the album A Game of You, but I was worried that it might not be fair use and that it might seem like stealing when really it was like an homage. And I read about how, like there's, like, I think if you want to put out an album called The Great Gatsby, you can do it. But I was like, this is a little weird. Like, I don't want people to think that I'm stealing when I'm really just trying to pay honor to one of the best, if not the best, comic books of all time. So the influence is all over the place. But for the metal music, like for me, you have stuff like Alice in Chains, but also like that 90s British doom sound, Anathema, My Dying Bride, Paradise Lost. That to me was a major entry point into metal, and back in the 90s when I was like in high school or whatever. And I adore that sound. I don't listen to those bands as often now as you do. Your tastes change and expand, but just an incredible impression that they left on me. And then I think for the non-metal stuff, for like the ambient stuff, probably like Johan Johansson. Like if you listen, and Sakamoto, like the Revenant soundtrack, Arrival soundtrack, Sicario soundtrack, unbelievable works. And then I think with the dark folk stuff, like, I don't know, anything from like Marty Robbins to Timber Timbre to Townes Van Zandt, all that music it has left a huge impression on me. Lyrically, I just want to tell stories with the metal stuff particularly. I do not want to write about religion. I do not want to write about death. like I mean, I write about death. Everyone talks about death, but like that's just a human thing, right? Yeah. But like I just want stories. Like on Doom 2, like I wanted you to see The Witch, the movie, like in your mind. I wanted you to see that kind of environment. On the Collapse, I'm not so sure, but maybe Pierre's artwork kind of gets you to it. But like if you dig into the lyrics, it's very much a story. And I think how you interpret, and there are literal events you can read in the story. And I'm not doing, God, I don't know. There's Tarkovsky references in there if you're into film, a little bit that are also a huge influence on me. But those are some genuine answers where normally I'm like, I don't want to talk about it.
Well, that's actually a really good answer. I mean, like you had like a lot of different genre that influenced you. I think it's really cool, and it really shows in the music.
Cool. Yeah, I'm glad, because I don't know. Back to the first question we talked about, like, why limit yourself? Why? Like, you have such a short time, maybe even shorter because the Earth's on fire. But like, you might as well do what you want to do.
I agree.
Yeah, 100%. So I think that's all we got for now, unless Guy has got a final question.
No.
Okay, good. Then we're going to end off. All right.
Can I say thank you, please? Thank you so much. And this is the beginning of like the cycle, I guess, if you will, for the Collapse. And this is the first interview I've done for this period. And It's a lot of fun. I really appreciate it.
I wish you good results and like good luck with the album launch.
Thank you very much.